single sentence question. Ask him a question and he'll have time to answer. My first quick question for you is, you mentioned the man on your shirt here.
Yes.
First I want to mention quickly, conservatism is the new counterculture. I love it. That is perfect. It is the positive form of, we've talked a long time now about green is the new red, which is definitely true, but this is the positive form and I love it. Please tell us who this man is and what he's done.
This man, for short, PJW, but his full name is Paul Joseph Watson. And he is a political commentator, and he is an amazing man. He was one of the guys who I would follow on YouTube and often hear what he had to say. And he's not even native-born American. He's from Europe, but yet he loves his country so much that he gets out, he would get out and do his YouTube videos, and he would fight, man. And this guy, political correctness is not in his vocabulary.
Good.
He's very funny also.
And so he, watching him, I thought he was amazing, and I'm hoping my best to one day get to meet him and shake his hand, man to man, and just thank him for being one of the strong voices that got me.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, I'll go around the room. Who's next over here? Ramon, you have a question? What?
Yeah. So what is your take? Because this concept of men using the women's bathroom because they have dresses on. What would you like to see done with that?
I like to see them go into the men's room. Because at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen, as we all know. You know, when there's sick individuals out there, there's pedophiles out there, and they say all I got to do to get and see a young girl's private parts or a woman's private parts or be around that is put on a dress.
No, actually,
or the other way around.
Do you know now, because I work for CUNY, you have to think.
Yeah, think.
You feel like a woman.
Oh, that's right.
And now I could be wearing this. In fact, maybe I'm going to
you don't need to dress anymore.
and I feel at the moment like a woman, and I can go into a woman's bathroom. You cannot question it. Thank you, liberals.
Yeah.
Yes. All the citizens out there, I'm sure they're going to obey those rules and not do anything like that. Be honest.
Yeah, Howard?
Have you walked around, when you came here today, you walk around the city, you wear, well, not just the shirt, the MAGA hat, and did you just put it on when you came in? Because the reason why I asked is I know people that do it, and even in a slightly more modern area, it's going to conjure at least some discussion.
Yes.
Depending on even what your background is.
Yes.
Because you're a black person, because I have friends of mine who are black that are also, they lean to the right politically, and they don't even wear a MAGA hat. My friend had, who lives in Queens, got all sorts of arrows from his friends that he grew up with, family members, saying exact things. When I listen to you, I'm listening to my good friend John Canard, and encountered the same issue. And we talked about it, and he's definitely taken a lot of the arrows. So,
Okay, so
have you wore the MAGA hat?
Yes, I've worn the MAGA hat.
And did it conjure up discussion or even worse?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. To be honest with you, it conjured up more discussion than I expected.
Right.
Than I expected. With that said, I got more crooked eyes and dirty looks than
It's right back.
And but what I noticed, if you're strong, you're confident, and I think it's also just not to put race involved, but it's being a black man, they give you a little more space.
You threw him off guard.
Threw them off guard. I think they're kind of sitting there like in shock for by the time I leave, they want to say something. So,
I'll tell you real quick.
Real quick, show.
Okay, when I was at the Hillary Trump debate in Hofstra, there was a group of Haitians protesting against Hillary Clinton, and the white liberals in that crowd didn't know how to handle them. They didn't know what to do with
They
them.
don't, because all they got is their trigger points, their trigger words.
Exactly.
Oh, you're a racist.
They're the
You're
real
a bigot. You're a
racists.
Nazi.
We all know that. They're the real racists.
Exactly. Exactly.
In the back there, I'll get you next.
Just part of what you're saying, you're not, I'm very involved with the police department and veterans. So I've told you this on Facebook, but I'm very proud of you standing up, and I just think it's amazing because a lot of the cops and veterans can't.
What's your question?
The black ones.
Yeah. You have a question? Hey, Bill?
That's good. I'm done.
You have a question?
I'm done.
Thank you for
Don't worry
that.
about it. I was going to.
Thank you. Hey, ma'am?
Yeah, how many people here are aware of the yellow vests?
Yellow vests,
Okay.
yes.
All right, so my question to you is, I think it would be a good idea, not just political activity, but some kind of protest activity about the abortion thing.
No, I might add, they're going to have a major march in Albany in June. You look it up. Can you tell us about it real quick?
Well, can I?
Okay, go ahead, finish. Go ahead, finish.
So I'd like to know if your group is involved or interested in that kind of thing.
Oh, definitely. Our group, we're going to get out there and march and do what we have to do. There's a gentleman back there, Derek Gibson, guy's a true patriot, and we want to do the red. We're talking about doing a red hat day and just really get out. And I want the CRA to be a part of all of that, because not only are we going to have socials and hang out, but I want to get in the streets. I want to grassroots, and grassroots is not only just going door to door. It's just going out into the public, going to marches, doing what you got to do to get the word and message out there. And I want to show what the CRA is about, because we got people in the CRA. We're black, we're white, Hispanic, Jewish, everything you can think of, and we're all there.
Like most conservatives, you don't care about race.
No, who cares? I care about content and character, like MLK taught me when I was
Exactly.
This is on your Facebook page, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, ma'am, do you have details about this?
It's June 3rd, March.
That's a Monday, right? I think it's Monday, June 3rd.
Monday. March for Life, New York. It's upstate in Albany at the Capitol, and right now it says there's just about 3,000 people going.
We need
Are they
30,000.
organizing buses or something?
I'm sure as it gets closer.
It's in the works. It's in the works.
Yeah.
On a Monday, I can't.
There's a Facebook page about it, and they ask people.
I don't have.
Ask people.
I got a lot of respect for the Yellow Vest protesters. I watch Europe all.
I'll invite you.
There's just big guys out there watching.
We'll get to everybody. We'll get to everybody. We're going to be around. Thank you, man. Jerome?
Kristen, have you done anything on deprogramming? The people who basically look at the world not like you did through your own eyes, but through other people's eyes, and so they're always afraid of that. Have you done any work in finding these kind of people who would at first roll their eyes at you, and then finally you get them to listen to you and connect with reality the way they don't? They just connect with other people. But any work?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, even from just being on social media, what I've done, I've gotten to the point now where I debate, like when I talk to other black people who aren't so don't think logically, so logically politically. They're not dumb people, not necessarily, just don't know politics too well. And I have this argument routine. They come at me. They say, "Oh, you Uncle Tom, you coon." That
They call you that?
Oh, yeah. I had white people call me. I had white people call me that. Even white people say
I'm saying black people.
Black people too. Oh yeah, definitely. Both, all races, all kinds of races call me that.
That's disgusting.
So I got to the point where first
knows no doubt.
of course, first when it happened, it was like, whoa, what the heck is this? But now I'm at a point where I'm so, I hear it so often that it's just like, rain on the shoulder, like whatever. Because I go, okay, well, you go back to your Democrat plantation, the KKK party. And they're like, what do you mean? Oh, well, I'm not a KKK. I'm like, well, if you look at history, who started KKK? It was the Democrats. And who started Planned Parenthood? For what reason? It's all because Margaret Sanger wanted to kill blacks because they said they were growing like weeds. So when I did, I go from we go back and forth, and then when I can see them getting quiet, because they're kind of quiet because they're going to Google and they're searching what I'm saying. And then when they come back, they always do the same thing. And I got this routine. They say, "Well, I'm not on either side. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent." You're independent that checks D every time you go in the voting booth every 4 years. That's not independent. That's a Democrat.
Yeah. I'm sorry. They always say that the Republican Party is different than it was back then, and the Democrat Party is different. But really, you're still for abortion? You're still killing babies? Oh, you're a little different, aren't you?
Jerome, I give an example of what you're talking about. Would you ever consider talking in a black church?
Oh, definitely.
Have you tried it yet?
Not yet. I haven't.
I think you have a chance to do something there.
That's a great idea, and I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a gentleman I know. First name's Richard. I'm not going to say his full name, but he is from the Bed-Stuy area. He hasn't lived there no more where I live in Bed-Stuy, and he has reached out to me, and he's told me he knows a lot of black churches in the area. He knows a lot of college campuses in the area, so he wants to work with helping me there. And when you mentioned that, I'm going to mention to him that can I talk. So that's a great idea.
I'm sorry, you have a question, man?
You know what I find?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, quick.
It's very hard to get in the churches because I tried that, and they say they don't want politics.
But they'll take Democrats all day long.
Yeah, and they disrespect the president while they're on their sermon all the time. I heard them disrespect my church and disrespect the president so much I left the church.
They let the Clinton witch in there, and she started, talking like a black person. So
oh my gosh.
Hot sauce. Yeah, about hot sauce with her.
Oh, the hot sauce with bag. Oh yeah.
I like hot sauce.
Hey, vote for me.
She's so insulting. Okay, ma'am, you have a question? Or...
Go ahead.
I just want to say the reason they're not letting us into the church is because the Democrat Party have paid the pastors and the people that run the church. That's why we can't get in.
I
experienced this while I was campaigning with someone. They wouldn't let him speak at certain churches because.
Well, we have to either break that wall down or expose it. So we
You're
gotta
not
do it.
doing an election. You're not campaigning. You're just speaking.
You're speaking,
It's
right?
a big difference.
Ma'am, go ahead.
No, that's what I'm saying. He just went to go speak.
Yeah, I get it. We're gonna work on that. Thank you.
Could you tell us about your trip to the White House?
Oh, yeah, yes. I want to mention that in my speech, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So, with that said, I was, after my YouTube channel started getting bigger and bigger, I met a guy, Joshua the Fall, at a meetup for a Trump supporter meetup. And when I met Joshua, I raised my hand at the very end of the Q&A and I said, how can a black man in New York help bring conservatism into the state? And everybody gave me a standing ovation when I said that. So he came up to me afterwards and he said, you need to make videos. You need to start making videos. So that's what, as time went by, I told you a story about how I started making videos. When I had about 20, 25 videos made, I reached out, emailed Joshua because I had his card, I had his information. I said, check out my YouTube channel now. Hey, I got a little following here. Yeah. And he's like, and I'm like, and YBS was just announced 2 days prior. So I went on Anthony Brian Logan. He's the one who announced his YouTube channel. I went on his through the website. Yeah. And then I filled out the application. They accepted it. When I reached out to Joshua, he said, Joshua said, you're in here, man, trust me. Brandon Tatum then emailed me personally and said, I've been watching what you're doing. I want you at the White House. I said, okay, all right, I've argued with you guys, So I went to YBLS, Young Black Leadership Summit. It was the largest gathering of black conservatives in American history.
Wow.
Amazing. It was late October, I can't remember the exact day, I think it was October. There you go. Diamond was there as well.
Where was it?
It was in Washington, D.C. And so, I went there, I met so many young minds, it was amazing. I mean, there's people, Chandler Crump, which a quick shout out here, and his older brother too. I'm down with him. And Candace Owens.
You got Candace Owens?
Candace Owens, Brian Tatum, Dr. Ben Carson, Stacey Dash. Oh man, they had so many people there. It was absolutely amazing. David Harris Jr., can't forget David Harris Jr. And, these young people would come up to me and they were saying, oh my gosh, Chris, I love your channel because I love what you're doing. I watch you all the time. And you can tell they were watching me more than they watched CNN and MSNBC and all that because they're the internet generation. Gen Z is the internet generation. They grew up on the internet, not on television. So when they get their news, they get the news from YouTube, not from the mainstream media. So that was the first good thing. And so I was so excited about that. And then we got to go to the White House and meet the President of the United States. And it was absolutely amazing, historical. I mean, Diamond was there. She knows she was there. And I was so in awe. I took if you see my Facebook, on my Facebook, I took 1,000 pictures that day. And I mean, I was taking pictures. They had a JFK photo, which is probably my favorite picture I took there. The JFK picture of Reagan. I mean, all the past presidents, all the silverware was so important in the White House. And they had all the dishware and everything. It was just in all these rooms, and it was just like, I was in shock and awe just walking around. Couldn't believe where I was at. And we finally go to the East Room of the White House. And Dr. Ben Carson comes out first, and he speaks with us for a bit. You had, the room was packed. You saw red MAGA hats all around everywhere. It was amazing. See, I heard Al Sharpton later on try to disrespect that, but no, those are real deal MAGA hats. I was not paid. Nobody got a dime for doing this. We all were there just to support. And when Dr. Ben Carson left, Trump, he took his time a little bit. He was on Twitter tweeting, so people were like, hey, you sent a tweet. So we do it. So he was there doing what Trump does, And I'm telling people all the time, when he came out to speak, it felt like the cool uncle at Thanksgiving coming over. And it was just, he came out, he wasn't, he's not presidential enough or whatever. He just came out, was just real. Here it is, man. And he said, and he brought up the fact that when he spoke in that church, which I saw when he did this, I think it was in Mississippi or Alabama, when he was still running, and he was talking to a black church there. And one of the things he said to him, and he talked about the Democratic Party and their history with the black community, and he says, why don't you give us a try? What do you got to lose? What do you got to lose? And he said that again to us, and we were just clapping and cheering. And we were even chanting "Build a Wall" for a bit. We were doing it all. We were just, it was amazing. He did an amazing speech. He stayed afterwards, shook people's hands, signed people's hats. Amazing. I tried to get up there and get my hat signed. It was so packed by the time I got up there, I couldn't quite get there. Diamond, she got her hat signed, so she got there. So she really, it was amazing.
There's no way.
It was absolutely absolutely amazing experience, you know, and Don Jr. was the first night we got there. We saw Don Jr. speak, and Don Jr. stayed afterwards and talked to everybody, took pictures with everybody.
Wow.
He's a good Twitter poster.
It was amazing.
This man is now filled with envy. I can't.
I can feel it. I can feel the envy coming off. Calm down. It's all right. But no, it was truly a historical moment in American history, and one of the most memorable moments. I put that up there right with the Berlin Wall fall. That was right there.
Well, next year's will be bigger. Okay, so that's a question next. Steve,
I have a question.
Steve, go ahead.
Okay. Are you considering, or have you considered the possibility of putting your hat in to run for a local office in New York City?
Yes, I have. I knew that question was going to come. To be honest with you,
put that hat in.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I have, and it started because I did an interview with a gentleman that some of you might know here. His name is Anthony Pappas. He was the guy running against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
That's the man who Cottrell helped.
Exactly. And as I talked to Cottrell about that at the last meeting here. I talked to him about that.
Okay.
And when I met up with him. He was a very nice guy, but he came out and his clothes were looking rough. He was looking professional. He kept bringing up his divorce, and I'm like, and I'm thinking like, she's like this young chick that's just on Twitter all the time, getting all the young people excited and all that. And this is like the competition. He's like, nothing against him, but he didn't seem like he was going to have the energy to do something. But I did an interview with him. I was an energy for him, and I just got on the screen. I said, Alexandria Cortez, we're calling you out. Where are you at? You're afraid to debate this man? What are you scared? Well, come on, bring it. We're waiting for you. And so after I did it, I noticed on the news they started saying, "Oh, she's going to debate Anthony Pappas," and I was like, "Okay." So I saw like my words actually might have done something a little bit. But what happened as time went by, and people were stopped kind of talking about it, they swept it under the rug, and she never debated, and she snuck her way to where she's at. And so I was like, But when I noticed in my comment section, people were, I got a lot of likes, I got a lot of people viewing the video, they enjoyed it. But they were saying in the comment section, Chris, can you run instead of him? Or, and they were like, why don't you run? Why don't you consider running? And from that point on, in my videos, there would always be about a few people always commenting saying, hope you run soon. And at first, I didn't really think about it. I didn't even think my commentary was going to go anywhere. I thought it was going to be one video, people were going to like, enjoy it, and that would be it. But I got this far in the commentary, and now people are telling me constantly, you should consider running.
Do you live in a district?
I don't live in her district.
You don't have to.
But I'm going to have to.
New York State. You can live in any part of New York State, but any rest of the district.
Yeah. Really?
Wow.
Okay, sorry, Jerome, we'll come back to you. Martin.
I have a question. You're the perfect person to know about this because you grew up in the military. You lived on a lot of military bases, army bases all over the world. And my question is a follow-up on the other discussion about transgender people, transsexual, bisexual people. Obama basically brought them into the military and through an executive order. Now, my first question is, do you think they can do a proper job? Whatever their job is in the military, can they do their job adequately? And the next question is, what does that do for morale in the military? Do you think that it hurts morale?
Good question. To be honest with you, when it comes to, especially when it comes to bisexual and transgender, I think a lot of times that's a mental disorder. That's what's going on. And as you know, in the military, if you have a mental disorder, regardless of not related to sexuality, just a mental disorder, you're not going to walk into the military and they're going to accept you. They're going to vet you and find out you have the mental problem, and then it's not going to let you in. So if somebody wakes up and says they're a unicorn and then he wants to go to the military, they're going to get the heck out of it. So if you wake up and you think you're a man all of a sudden when you're a woman, or you're a woman when you're a man, and you want to go to the military, they're not going to treat you the same as somebody else who has that kind of way of thinking. I mean, it's a mental disorder is a mental disorder. So I don't feel that those individuals should be allowed in the military for that reason. And I do think it's going to do something to morale, because I mean, it's just, because if you talk about transgenders, you're going to have men in the ladies' room, women in the men's.
Well, people don't want to put their lives in the hands of crazy people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think from a distance, other countries watching us, they're going to see it as a weakness. And they're going to see it, especially countries like China and, that are North Korea, strict you know, man, female, you know, that's it, you know, they're gonna look at us like America's a joke, they're falling apart, you know. So I think that would be a problem.
I'd like to say that October 2011 was my last month in the military, and it was the first month where gays can function openly. And I remember the day that the regulation went into effect, I went into my room, nothing out of the ordinary. I woke up the next morning, and I saw people had written on their card, "Bob loves Steve." And just in the morning, as of 12:01, come on out, and they were having people getting married at 12:01. I mean, and
Parade's happening.
Yeah, they were great.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, don't ask, don't tell, which I did support, by the way. Even when I ran for Congress, I did support that. And talk about transgenderism in there. I got called up for Afghanistan when I was in the reserves, and I served proudly in Tampa, Florida. But I was told when I was giving my indoctrination to what's going to be like in the combat, there is no men's or women's room. There's an outdoor trough, which you relieve yourself. And they said if the person next to you is of the opposite gender, just look straight ahead. That is how it is on the battlefield. I never got to the battlefield. In fact, I was on the flight line, and they said, "Gore, get over here." They said, "Gore, we got bad news for you. You're not going to Afghanistan with your friends. You're going all by yourself to Tampa, Florida."
What did you do?
We apologize. And I said, "Apology accepted, sir."
Okay, next question, sir.
Hey, Chris. You and I spend a lot of time together. We talk a lot behind the scenes, and my question for you is this.
Do you want to tell the crowd who you are?
Oh, my name is Mark, and Chris is becoming a close friend of mine, and I came out to support him today.
And also, he's a personal trainer also as well. You know, he has time free.
Okay. Yes.
Good man.
Thank you. So, I think most of us in this room would agree that Trump will get reelected fairly easily in 2020.
Let's say
considering that the Democratic Party has moved so far left, and they're obsessed with identity politics, and you know they're in love with abortion and all that kind of stuff. You know, they're making it very easy for centrists and independents to to move into the Trump camp. My question for you is there anyone on the Democratic side that you think could make things interesting? Because from what I see, the people who've declared as of yet are a bunch of far left clowns, but is there anyone who hasn't declared who could be
well, you know,
it's a socialist belief.
Yeah.
Neil Kinnock knows about Neil Kinnock.
Neil Kinnock, yeah.
You and I
Yeah. He worked.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Is
so
anyone that you think would be
or at least make it interesting?
Make it interesting. Okay. Well, first and foremost, Pocahontas has no shot. Pocahontas, she has no shot at all. But I feel that there's two people I'm keep my eye on. Not because I personally think they're just great candidates, just because I know they're going to use identity politics and ride that wave as much as they can to try to get in there. And that's going to be, Joe Biden is one of them. But I think with Joe, I think he just has a tendency to say something stupid. Just on a regular basis. He's going to say some amount of dumb things that's going to just make him look bad.
He's the gap master.
Yeah, the gap master. And he's Mr. Touchy-feely as well.
I hope that.
You're right about that. You know that. Yeah. So, but the one person that I'm looking at her, and so I kind of give you a hint, Kamala Harris.
Oh, man.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
and the reason why I say her is because not because she's intelligent or because she's got great policies. It's because she's a black woman.
Yes.
And if the people do research, they'll know that her parents were slave owners in Jamaica. If they do the research on her family. Oh yeah. So, and she's a person, if you look at her policies are terrible for the black community.
Did you say your parents were slave owners?
I'm sorry.
Our
Ancestors.
fathers.
I'm sorry.
What deal did she made a deal with the devil for us?
Yeah. Right, ancestry.
Do you think of a moderate Democrat to stand up against the radicals?
Yeah, I was thinking.
Oh, no.
I'm only allowed on one liberal page to let me on, but one liberal page lets me on, and they're all putting down Kamala Harris as not far left enough.
But his policies, as you know, her policies she's passed have been like not far leftist, like policies that they really want in their.
Okay, so interesting, ma'am. You have another
She
question?
was known as a hard-ass prosecutor.
That's
so
right, she was.
Maybe that's why the left could be
Prosecutor.
Prosecutor, you're both.
That's a story we don't know?
No, not a real prosecutor. I'm saying that
Okay, quiet, please. Sir, question?
I just want to, make a statement, not so much of a question.
Fine.
But I think also it's important for the group to acknowledge that besides political, we also need to take care of ourselves in our health and also in our finance, because that's gonna make the group stronger. And I'm sorry that your mom passed away through cancer, but it's, we also need to take a little bit of time to focus on those areas. And that's going to build, the whole foundation much stronger and much, unity. And maybe, we could take a little bit of time or resource into those areas, that could share, down the line with that.
Good idea. Thank you very much.
Have a softball game.
Yeah. Jerome, another question?
Have you given thought to the question, can I accomplish more good for the country as an educator, as doing what I've been doing, rather than as a candidate running for office or a politician?
He's this guy. He's
I know. He's
good. And to be honest with you, that's why I started Conservative Republican Alliance.
Of course.
And when I started the group, when people were reaching out, because people reached out to me prior to that, say I should run. I started the group, and when I started the group, people were still saying you should run. I'm like, the reason I'm not so quick to run is I think I can do more as the leader of this group than I can if I was just a candidate. Because as we know, if I became a candidate, I had to fall into a certain line. I couldn't say this anymore. I couldn't talk about this anymore. I have, lobbyists who get involved. All this stuff where you have to be a
And it's worse if you become a legislature and you got to deal with everyone else on your committee who does not think the way you do, and you got to compromise to get a legislative majority and all that stuff.
Exactly.
That wears you down.
Yeah, exactly. It wears you down. And so I'm like, would I be? And if I lost, then what would it really prove? I spent all this time getting worn down, and I lost. I have nothing to show for it. When I could have been having a group, getting people involved, young people involved. Because my main goal with Conservative Republican Alliance, and this is the truth here, I'm trying to get to Gen Z. Because when I went to the YBLS, and Gen Z is 18 or younger, in case people remember.
Absolutely.
And the reason why I'm so focused on them, because when I went to YBLS, man, those kids, the 16, 15 come up to me, and they were just amazed that I was a celebrity, and I'm just like, good. Whoa. And I'm like, if I can get to them, because they are open
The future is in their hands.
They are listeners. They listen. People my age, millennials, they're just here to trump and cut me off.
Yeah. Okay, you're all asking great questions, but it's getting a long meeting, or we're at our closeout time, so we'll have 2 more questions. Go ahead, question.
I have a question.
Ramona, go ahead.
When you were talking before, Chris, you mentioned like the transgender people. The problem is that I hope someone can help me. Either 1968 or 78 or whatever, the American Psychological Association took out being gay as a form of mental illness.
Right.
So
they were threatened. They were threatened to doing that.
So that's the problem. That's how come they can go around. The problem is that it's norm and normal. It's not the norm to be transgender. And so you have a problem. These people need help and they need counseling, and because they did that, not only can they not get help because they're seen now as not having a problem, But it makes it hard because it's a double-edged sword. Like, we can't say certain things because it's supposed to be normal.
Ramona, but in the community, that's why they got the high suicide rate in the LGBTQ community. Is
How about that woman that drove a family off a cliff in California last year?
Oh my
family
goodness!
And children.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so you hear that story?
No.
She was driving along 6 kids and her lover in her car, right off the cliff to kill them all. Because she was crazy. Ramona, what has come of this community is they're just another group that the left will exploit. They're not going to stop if you don't fight. So.
I have a friend who's transgender,
yeah.
who is actually a veteran, who served tours overseas, combat veteran, was during the time of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So really, I think she now is the best person because she actually went through the whole process, and she's now a woman. And she's accepted, but the thing is that she agrees. There's no place to be transgendering in the military. When she was in the military, she was a man, she acted like a man, she watched out for her buddies, she did everything that a man would do. When she got out, then she went through she spoke to people, she started going through the process. So whether it's a mental illness, not a mental illness, there is something inherently not right in going on. But the thing is that she also agrees that, and I think that's
the key point you made, yeah. Even she said
you can't be going through hormone treatment, you can't be going through psychological treatment, you can't be going through all the things they go through and still be around weapons, and having people, you're watching everybody's back. It's their life on the line.
It's been a wonderful meeting. We have one more question. Anybody have something they really want to ask?
You want to say?
Okay, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize for this not being the form of the question, but to add to the last 2 comments, everything changed in 1973. There's something called the DSM, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. It is the Bible for the psychiatric and psychological community. Homosexuality, bisexuality, and the other deviations were once, before the change, they were described as psychopathy or psychosis. There were a bunch of gay activist psychiatrists who strong-armed people at a convention, strong-armed the majority of the psychiatrists at the convention to change the wording in the DSM to remove words like psychopathy and psychosis, such that they normalized homosexuality, bisexuality, and all the other forms. And there are certain other consequences. Not only do psychiatrists have to embrace it because it is their Bible, but if a parent wants aversion therapy to change their child because the child has, say, gay leanings, if a parent seeks a therapist out to apply aversion therapy, an injunction can be brought against that parents and perhaps a therapist and perhaps a lawsuit against the parents because aversion therapy is strictly forbidden according to the rewording. So we've been in trouble for 45 years, but it's a well-kept secret because most people don't even know what the DSM is. I'm finished.
Okay, you want to close the meeting out?
Yeah, well, before we, you did it already.
Thank you for sharing.
Close it out.
The president will close our meeting.
I want to thank everyone for coming. Just a quick housekeeping. The cameras off, right, Colin?